Good morning and welcome to 11 News Sunday Morning.
We'll get to all of our top stories and more in just a moment. Yesterday, we got to love on each other, love on ourselves, and today...
Well, we can still love on ourselves and we can enjoy the rain.
No, I'm not loving this weather. I know you want the rain to just get rid of all the ice, but it's going to be cold rain and muddy.
Okay, put a sweater on. Dalencia, tell her why this is good. We have lived with this ice for more than 2 weeks. It needs to go.
I don't want it. It needs to go, but this is great self-love weather because you just get to be inside, just take care of yourself, get your good snacks. See? Look, we're trying to convince her. It ain't working. We're trying to convince her. Look, right now it's dry, Janine. So if you want to get out and about, enjoy the dry weather while it lasts. There is some rain out in western Maryland right now, but as we take a wider view of things here, we can see that this is a bigger system than just what we're seeing in western Maryland. It actually stretches all the way down to Louisiana. This is what's going to bring in some heavier, widespread rainfall this afternoon, I would say after 2, and then also bringing in a chance for some wintry mixing in some areas, mainly along the Maryland-Pennsylvania line and out in our higher elevations. Here's a look at our current temperatures. Most areas are sitting above freezing, so any wet weather that we're seeing is going to fall as rain. Looking at 34 at BWI Marshall, 35 in Baltimore, 29 right now in Woodstock, so below freezing, but it is dry out there right now. We are going to see that rain start to develop later into the afternoon. You can see those temperatures will still be in the 40s by the afternoon, and then as we move into the evening hours, we cool down a bit in some areas. That's when we could see that transition. So we'll talk more about what we can expect this afternoon and evening in your full forecast. Look, you can get a lot of sleep and maybe have to exercise indoors today. We got some rain on the way, widespread rainfall across the region. Could even see a few wet snowflakes. We'll talk more about the forecast for our Sunday in a few minutes. Well, it's quiet right now, but some wet, widespread rainfall is on the way. So now is the time, if you're an early bird, you want to get out and about and run those errands, maybe get out before the rain. Now is the time to do it. We'll see that rain moving in for the afternoon. If you're out in western Maryland, though, you may be getting in on a sprinkle or two right now, but a widespread view of things here. This system is much larger, bringing in some heavy rain to the southeast, and that will continue to move our way into the afternoon. So mainly after 1, 2 o'clock, that's when that rain will start to develop. All right, looking at our temperatures, it is mainly going to fall as rain, and that's because these temperatures for much of the day will be above freezing. So we're looking at 34 at BWI Marshall, 34 downtown, 43 in Westminster, 31 in Frederick right now, and by this afternoon temperatures will be in the 40s. We're looking at a few rain showers or widespread rainfall across the state, and then as we move overnight, that's when we could have that transition towards the evening when those temperatures fall closer to that freezing range. So overnight and into tomorrow morning, our temperatures will be starting off in the low to mid 30s. Let's take a look at futurecast for this rainfall. Again, widespread rainfall moving in mainly after 2, and then some areas, especially in the higher elevations, will fall below freezing. That could kick off some wintry mixing, some wet snowflakes, especially out in western Maryland. The system's going to be starting to move on out of here as we move later into the nighttime hours, still around the Maryland-Pennsylvania line, getting in on some snowfall, and then that will eventually taper off as we move into the morning hours tomorrow. So much of the day is going to be dry, but when we look at these accumulation, really it's going to be very minimal. So about a dusting to maybe an inch in higher elevations, but really that is even unlikely from this. So we're looking at minor accumulation tonight. Our next weather story when this system is on out of here will be the mild weather on the way for the midweek. So starting on Tuesday and lasting into Friday, we're actually going to be in the 50s. It's going to feel wonderful, but along with the mild weather, we'll also bring some unsettled weather as we'll have some rain moving in for the next few days and beyond. So today, widespread rainfall mixing into snow later on tonight. President's Day, we're looking at mainly cloudy skies, 44, so closer to the average for this time of year. Again, mild for the midweek with a chance of rain.
WBAL-TV 11 News Sunday morning starts right now.
Good morning and welcome back to 11 News Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us. I think I'm going to post a poll.
Okay.
Who is excited about the rain? because we have different reasons, and who does not want the rain. I just
I'm
don't want to
get her an umbrella, okay?
cold and wet, and being outside is going to be all muddy and gross tomorrow. But you make a good point. We have got to get the snow and ice
get
out
the
of here.
ice out of
the
here.
snowcrete has got to go.
It's got to go.
And it is dry out there too. We're still
Yeah,
in a
that's
drought,
true.
so
Big
we
time.
still need all of the rain. And I guess we need that ice to, seep into the soil too to help with the drought. So a lot of things that this rain will help us with, but it is a little annoying. So I get it, but that won't be here until the afternoon. So if you do have any plans to head out and about, now's the time to do it. If you are willing to get up and out this early on your weekend, or looking at just dry conditions, cloudy skies, but a wider view of things here. Lots of rain, lots of wet weather in the mid-Atlantic region. We're looking at our temperatures here: 34 at BWI Marshall, 29 in Woodstock, 37 in Westminster. Much of the day our temperatures are going to be above freezing, so that's why things are going to be mainly as rain. Eventually there will be at some cooler spots in the metro along the Maryland-Pennsylvania line, out in higher elevations. That's when we can see some wet snowflakes and some wintry mixing. We'll talk more about those areas and what we can expect as we close out our weekend and move into a long weekend for some of us. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
See, tracking some, maybe even a few flakes.
Yeah, this rain will be more widespread into the afternoon as temperatures will be above freezing, but a few spots can fall with those temperatures later on this evening. That's where we can see some wet snowflakes. We'll talk more about what we can expect today in your full forecast. Well, we got impact weather today. It is going to be wet, especially towards the afternoon. And then there's some areas that could even get on a wintry mixing, maybe even some wet snowflakes as we close out the day. But right now, as we're starting the day, temperatures for many areas above freezing, and we are dry out in western Maryland. You may notice a sprinkle or two, but let's take a wider view of things here. This is a bigger system. It stretches all the way down to Louisiana. So we are seeing quite a bit of rain along the mid-Atlantic, even some heavy rain and some thunderstorms in Alabama and parts of the panhandle there in Florida. So it is going to be a wet afternoon. Right now we're looking at dry conditions and temperatures again above freezing. 34 at BWI Marshall, 29 though in Woodstock. That is below freezing, but it is dry outside. Looking at 35 in downtown Baltimore, 37 in Westminster, 30 in Frederick. So as you're starting to head out and about for Sunday services, Sunday brunches later on, you are good for now. That rain will start to move in later into the afternoon, and much of the afternoon temperatures will be above freezing. So we're looking at 43 for the afternoon high in Baltimore, 46 in Westminster, 44 in Frederick. Now temperatures will begin to fall below or closer to that freezing mark overnight. That's when we could start to see that transition into a wintry mix later into the day as it gets a little chillier. Here's a look at Futurecast showing that widespread rainfall arriving in the afternoon. I would say mainly after 2 o'clock. And then here's a hint of some of those higher elevations getting cold enough to produce and cause that mixing and even some wet snowflakes. Then along the Maryland-Pennsylvania line, as we move later into the evening hours, we can see pure snowfall. These will be wet snowflakes, but they are going to be moving on out of here. And then the whole system is over by the early morning hours on Monday. Could see some fog as we start the day tomorrow, but as many folks may be off, that is good news that the roadways will be on the clearer side, but there could be some other folks that are heading out. So if you do have a morning commute tomorrow, be mindful that the roadways could be wet and we could have some fog. Here's a look at the snowfall total, really a dusting to 1/10 of an inch. Minor accumulation is expected from this along that Maryland-Pennsylvania line and out in the higher elevation. When the system is on out of here, the next weather story will be the mild weather we have for the midweek and beyond. The 50s is what we are expecting. But along with the 50s, we do have some wet weather that will be moving in. So it will be a bit unsettled. So keep that in mind as you're planning your midweek activities.
My man Magnus some love over at the Maryland SPCA. He was a great Valentine this weekend. He's a good kisser.
I like that. He was looking snazzy just now.
He was
Yeah,
handsome
I like that.
and kisses good. All right, our forecast.
Look, speaking of Pete and sports, baseball starting in Sarasota this week and Friday, and so I'm thinking of the warm weather. We'll have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
We'll have a little bit of that. But today we got to get through the rain and the chance for some snow later on. That's going to be mainly today. We're looking at 43, so much of the day temperatures will be above freezing. freezing. That's why we're going to see rain, but some areas will see cooler temperatures later on. That's where we can get that minor accumulation. Now, Monday, all of this will be out of here. Clouds will be sticking around, but then look at Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Temperatures will be in the 50s, but we do have some unsettled weather, so some more rain's moving in.
All right, we should be able to get some decent melting going on this week. So that's you've got the
I just
danger
want
of
to be able to
refreezing,
walk
but-
up to my house and not slip and slide up to my house.
Seriously,
You know?
you're
All
so right.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. Today's show's up next.
No,
the
it's not.
Olympics
The
is up
Olympics are
next.
up. Go USA!
All right.